Hello again, Ian Stokey with Mastermind Games here, this time painting the Chapter Champion. This is getting an Ultramarines paint scheme again, and it's from the same set as the Honor Guard. So Army Painter Ultramarine Blue, it's technically called Warpaints, but let's see, yeah, this'll do. And plenty of this. Again, this thing is thoroughly bedecked in Ultramarines iconography, which works for me just fine, but I could see how it would irritate those who want to do, say, White Scars or Imperial Fists. And he's equipped with a power sword and a champion's blade. His job is basically to keep the riffraff off of his boss, the chapter master, and whoever else he's assigned to bodyguard for. And he is actually, per his rules, required to do heroic interventions if he has the opportunity to do so. He does have, I believe, frag and crack grenades too. More or less a melee-oriented monster. You throw at your enemies to keep them off your more important stuff. And when I say melee-oriented monster, I mean there's stuff obviously more monstrous than this, but it sounds neat. To a certain extent, he's completely disposable, just for the sake of getting stuff jammed up. And plenty of decor on him. This is also, again, the fine cast resin. So plenty of little tiny details. So I'm trying to make certain I get a thorough coat on this one. Okay, let that dry and then move on to the next. Next up, Deep Red 09002. Still a bit, oh boy, that went out erratically, that's no good. What's going on this skirt or half skirt, whatever you want to call it? I'm sure there's a specific name for it I'm not aware of. Just need to make sure I'm still in camera. I'm getting there with getting used to what this new camera mine can and can't do, but still need to take some caution. No, not caution, oh boy, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh well, never mind. Then I'm going to go ahead and get this on the grip for the power sword. And of course find the purity seals. And let's see. That's good for this. Yeah. So one more color I think I can go ahead and do right now. That's going to be, where is it? No, 09110 oiled leather. Just a little bit of it. This is just going on the scabbard for his champion's blade, which is not as good as the power sword, but you get to make an extra attack with it for free, so more or less one free weak hit and some power sword stabs. And I suppose I can start on his little brush. Now for this, I think Fire Red 09004. There's definitely a Roman Centurion thing among the Ultramarines. And this will probably need a second coat, which I'll just take care of off camera. Okay. Let that dry, and then I can move on in a minute. Okay. Now I'm going to take, where is it? Leather White 09062. And do a little practicing for something coming up. I did put a second coat on the brush on his helmet. Off camera, so I'm going to pick out a section of this in the white. Plume, that's what this part is called. Okay, it's not so bad. And then Antique Gold 09050. Trinket on his, hanging off his waist. There are so many things here. It's tricky to decide which to do and which to leave, but it's a bit much paint. Getting the pommel of the power sword. Yeah, fun fact, the pommel of a sword, aside from being a counterweight, was also used when necessary to bludgeon an opponent over the head, and this is where the word pommel comes from. Again, a lot of nice detail, all these ultramarine sigils. But again, that's also the only problem with these. If you want non-ultramarines chapters represented. Try to see if I can keep my hand out of the camera when finishing this up. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay. Stormy Gray 09088. Just a little bit of this. There's only 2 places this is going, and this is again for that body glove underneath the armor. Only visible points are on the elbow and behind the knee. A little more gold on this bit right there. And Tarnished Steel 09206. Get the Champion's Blade. And the Power Sword. And Yellowed Bone 09143. Get some purity seals picked out. Or rather the parchment from them anyway. Oh, looks like there's one I missed just hanging out from under the armpit there. That's something. Okay. Making sure I didn't miss anything. Okay. And that looks like base coat. And of course I just gripped by a part I just painted. Quick to fix. But frustrating that I wasn't paying attention and did that. Okay. Let that dry, move on in a minute. Okay. Highlighting. Or no, shading. Ancient Bronze 09049. Getting a little mixed up. It's about bedtime, but I got time to do this before I fall asleep. About half paint, half water, mixed thoroughly. Hear that thumping? That's just my neighbors playing their stereo. It's nothing of consequence. It's not loud enough to bother me right this minute. And they typically will have it turned off before I actually do need to go to sleep, so everything's fine down there. And plenty of honors and markings denoting them all over this guy. my hand having trouble telling if my hand is getting into the camera frame or not. I'm sure the process of the model being painted and not the back of my hand. That would be the YouTube equivalent of taking a picture but having your thumb over the camera lens. Now, is there anything else I can do right this second? Let's get the scabbard, got the gold. Let's try and do a bit of the red. We'll see if this works or not. I might have to blot it out, but blood red 09003. Just a tiny dot. So I'm only going to put this over the red areas of his little brush, the plume. Just nick the gold on the finger. So far so good, but I still have to be cautious around the white I painted on, because a plume like this is practice for something I have coming up. Okay, anything else? I think I can take a chance and do the parchment, so stained ivory 09142. Not too much of that. Okay, I lucked out. Do I want to try? Let's not. Okay, that's good for now. Let's just leave that, let it dry, and come back in a minute. Okay, blood red 09003. Okay, grab the wrong brush. Wait a minute. No, I did blood red already. Linen white 09061. Oh boy. Let's see how this is going. Okay. Got a little mixed up there. Not yet on that. We'll go ahead and do red brick 09001 first. Just realized I've been referring to myself as a we again. That's not a good sign. So am I in camera? Yeah, kinda. Kinda not. Okay, that works. And ruddy leather 09109. Just a little bit. It's only going on the scabbard back here, which I'm sure is for the champion's blade. Seems a bit puny for the power sword. It's alright. And now pure black 09037. This is getting thinned out a little extra. Whenever you use just straight black as a shader, you're going to have to thin it out more, otherwise it'll completely obscure your details. Though a cheap way and quick way of shading is just to go over the entire model with this pure black, but like I said, it's very easy to go too far, not thin it enough, and end up obscuring everything. Blackened Steel 09205. Just a quick. Oh, nuts. That is exactly why I keep the paper towel handy. Blot that up. And then we're good. Okay. Okay, that's just going to leave the blue, and then the lighting effects, then I can start highlighting. Alright, last shade, Ultramarine Shadow 09187. I started on this immediately after the previous video finished uploading. So, if you hear that talking, I've got an episode of my favorite show on in the other room, which would be Mystery Science Theater 3000. So, alright. Okay. This is just a little tricky through here. I got it. So many neat, tiny little details all over the place. Okay, just about done there. Okay, now once that's dry, I can get the lighting effects taken care of and start highlighting. Okay, groundwork on the lighting effects. Pure white 09039. Well, that just fell right out. Don't think I've ever had that happen before. Taking a finer brush. Hasn't seen much use yet. Just taking that white. Carefully filling in the eyes. Rather the eye lenses in this case. And then to have that power sword glowing with energy. Just put a thin line from this little emitter here along the inside there. Repeat the other end. Okay. Once that's dry, I can get the lighting in. Okay. Lighting effects 09101 ruby red. Just need a tiny dot of this. This is a metallic red. I'm going to be thinning it out more than I typically would, because this will help drive home the lighting effect. Camera. That's much better than last time. What you want is some of the white showing. That helps to give the impression that it is lit up from within. And sparkling blue 09104. And that one's plugged up. So, paper clip. Tiny dot. Send out. That's a bit too thick. Let's go ahead and just blot that out. This is one way of fixing things when these little flub ups happen. So I'm going to thin out my paint a little more and try again. It's a bit better. What's odd about this power sword is on every other power sword I painted, the emitter here is much closer to the cross guard. So make that what you will. Make of that what you will. Okay. Once that's dried, I can move on to the highlights and final details. Okay, time to highlight. 09089 Cloudy Gray. Just a tiny bit of this. It's only going on literally 2 places. Let's see. I just need to pick out a brush here. I've got a whole big tray of them. And just highlighting that body glove. Ultramarine Highlight 09189. Try this out very thoroughly. Phoenix Red 09005. This is going to get tricky. No, that is not mixed well. So, you see this here, or can you? No, you can't. So right here, see how clear that is? Little pigment. Let's try again. Not much better. As you can, yeah, you see that oozing down? That's not good. Alright, let's try this. Take 3. Sometimes they fight me. Alright, third time, much better. You see here it's practically sticking up there, not oozing down as much. But the pigment is pretty solid. I'm trying to deliberately avoid the white. And give that a minute. Blood Red 09003. Purity Seals. And this sort of leather-looking skirt, which would just be for style points, essentially. No practical function for something like this, not when you've got heavy ceramide armor on underneath it anyway. Oh yeah, and the grip on his power sword. Now Ghost White 09063. Tiny speck is going to be plenty. Uh-oh. Paint's running away. This is going to be plenty because there's literally just 2. This is right here. Very small, very thin. I need just a little bit of this to highlight them. I'll go ahead and switch brushes and give that one a chance to dry. True Silver 09207. And it is key to have your brush dry for this, or mostly dry. And as far as I understand, this Champion's Blade isn't a power weapon, it's just a high quality sword of standard materials. While the power sword, like all power weapons, is sheathed in a deadly energy field. And there's a bit in Calgar's Fury, the book, where a Terminator equipped with a power fist has his field on and is using just a single finger to cut cables, just melting, disintegrating them as his finger passes through them. And now, new gold 09051. There's a fair bit of this on here. In retrospect, I should have gotten the leather first, but that's alright, it'll be okay. And model that's next to my queue just fell off the table. Alright, retrieval. I was going to say retrieval successful, but it fell off again. I think I just have him a little too close to my wrist. Okay, that's the gold. I'm just going to switch brushes again so that I've got giving them chances to dry out. And before I forget it, burnt orange 09111, which is plugged up. So, paper clip. Tiny dot. So let's see, I'm going to put this up here while I do this so you can see the technique. We're just going to rub it on the towel so it looks like there's nothing left. Then lightly dust. And dry that thoroughly. And 09144 Creamy Ivory. And all the purity sealer just on the chest up front here. Helps if you go against the grain of ridges, etc. I know that's a woodworking term, but it applies here too. And I'm going to need to let that dry before I do the text on the purity seal and get the base finished up. So, back in a minute. Okay, pure black 09037. There's not that much of it on this one. Taking my finest tipped brush. Just tiny little dashes, dots, and squiggles to give the impression of text. Well, if you're able to write this small, that's amazing. That turned out pretty good. And I should note I'm typically using round brushes. I'm going to switch to a flat one. Maybe not that flat one. Using one with a slightly smaller head. And just go over the outer edge of the base with the same color. This is, again, completely arbitrary. I've seen in official studio models in the books, green, brown as examples. So, and in many of my other games I play, I pick a color specific to each faction. I just didn't for Warhammer in the end. So once that's completely dry, then I can get the basic material on and get this finished up. Alright, basing time. White glue. Get in there. Dilute it with plenty of water. And a sacrificial brush, maybe not that one, because this will wear these out sooner, so don't use your best brushes for this. Let's get it all mixed up nice and that was what I'm looking for. Nice and consistent in color. Carefully just paint around the feet. Right up to the edge of the base. And dip it in the base material. In this case I'm using talus or rock debris, a mix of coarse and fine. Cleaning out my sacrificial brush thoroughly and then taking a different brush that's dry and just carefully, that one's not working out too good. Let's try this one. Carefully pushing the flock away, or talus in this case, away from areas I don't want it. I realize I forgot. Okay, that was me knocking over a cup of water. Fun. Okay. So taking pure black, 0.037 again. Okay, something random on the Grieve, Ultima on the Pauldron. And then Scenic Cement is a spray or brush on adhesive. Good gravy. I think I've lost my ability to speak today. So carefully dripping into the basing material. You want to give it some time to set before you do this, otherwise this will just push it all around. Clean out your tool when you're done. And that is it. A honor guard from Warhammer 40,000. Let's try to get them to focus a little better. So, got 2 more models from this particular set. And until next time, I am Ian Stuckey with Mastermind Games, signing out.